We built a protocol that we considered to be bulletproof, and we knew that it would meet the requirements set out by the FDA without running any risks on making sure the trial would be powered adequately to meet the primary approval endpoint under a wide range of performance assumptions.
Welcome back for another Virtual Investor What This Means segment. My name is Janine Thomas and I am CEO of JTCIR. Today we are featuring Moleculin Biotech and I am very pleased to be joined by Walter Klemp. He is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the company. Before we get started, I just want to inform our audience that Moleculin Bio is listed on NASDAQ and trades under the ticker MBRX. And during today's discussion, the company will be making forward-looking statements and actual results could differ materially from these forward-looking statements. Some of the factors that could cause actual results to differ materially from these contemplated by such forward-looking statements are discussed in the periodic reports Moleculin files with the Securities and Exchange Commission. These documents are available in the investor section of the company's website and on the Securities and Exchange Commission's website. We encourage you to review these documents carefully. All right, so Wally, we are ready to jump in. Wally, this change in the Miracle trial protocol to unblind just after 45 subjects seems like a huge improvement in visibility. Can you help put this into perspective and explain what this means for the Miracle trial moving forward?
Yes, Janine, you're absolutely right. This gives investors and prospective partners alike the opportunity to assess the trial's likelihood of success by providing an unblinding of 45 subjects. So that's 30 being treated with Annamycin plus HiDAC and 15 with HiDAC alone in second-line AML subjects. Now, this is nearly a year earlier than planned. Essentially, we expect to be able to share definitive data as early as the second half of 2025, maybe within less than 12 months. So this lowers the perceived risk for financing the trial, and it could accelerate the timeline for strategic partnering. There will still be the unblinding at the end of Part A, by the way, as we previously announced. So now there will be two unblindings, one at 45 subjects and one after we reach a total of 75 to 90 subjects. With two unblindings, this provides investors and clinicians great visibility into the trial.
Wally, with such a reduction in your timeline, what conclusions do you expect can be drawn from this first group of 45 subjects?
Well, remember, during the first part of the trial, the randomization is essentially 2-to-1 in favor of treatment with Anorac, the combination of Annamycin with high-dose Ara-C or HiDAC. Yes, that will be at two different Annamycin doses, but we've seen strong efficacy at both dose levels. So we're talking about 30 subjects being treated with Anorac in this first unblinding in Part A of the trial. Add that to the 10 second-line subjects from our last phase 2 trial, and the trend for efficacy for Annamycin plus HiDAC should become pretty clear and convincing. As well, the initial trend for the HiDAC control arm should also become apparent, indicating where we are likely to be once we get to the end of Part A. Bottom line, it's going to become apparent where this trial is headed, and we believe, based on our discussions to date with mid and big pharma, that it'll start more involved conversations on the partnering front, as well as enhance our ability to continue financing the trial.
Wally, it's clear that this is a huge improvement for the company and for investors, but I have to ask, why didn't you just design the trial this way from the beginning?
Fair question. When it comes down to is priorities, there are some very long lead time items involved in getting a trial up and running, but most of them can't even start until you have a final protocol. We're talking about contracting with a global CRO and local sub-CROs, getting indications of interest from clinical sites, and then going through the site selection and approval process, as well as contracting with those sites and getting ethics committee approvals. Many of those are months-long processes that can't start without a final protocol. So what we did is we built a protocol that we consider to be bulletproof. And we knew that it would meet the requirements set out by the FDA without running any risks on making sure the trial would be powered adequately to meet the primary approval endpoint under a wide range of performance assumptions. It's all well and good to have confidence in your drug, but we've seen some recent examples where overconfidence by the management team led to phase 3 failures because they didn't allow for negative surprises along the way. Now, once that protocol was in place and all of the protocol dependent processes got underway, we then set out to stress test the biostatistics, looking for opportunities to shorten the trial time. Once those analyses were complete, which was only recently, we identified that we could unblind at 45 subjects as well as at 90 without compromising the power of the study. And it only added 4 more subjects to the end of Part B. And that, of course, was a no-brainer given the benefits of this approach.
Yes, I mean, this seems to dramatically improve visibility and lower risk. Could you clarify how this impacts the dose optimization process for Part A of the trial?
Sure, this is actually another potential benefit to unblinding at 45. Even though we don't expect big differences in performance between 190 milligrams and 230 milligrams, if that does turn out to be the case, we could make the call at that point to shut down one or the other of the Annamycin dosing arms and declare the optimum dose right then and there. And what that could do is reduce the size of Part A from 90 to as little as 75 subjects, which further accelerates the trial and it reduces our costs. And the other thing to keep in mind is that if the unblinded results are really showing that Anorak is outperforming the control arm by as much as we expect, it could hasten a further shortening of the trial if it's concluded that continuing the control arm would simply be considered unethical due to the disparity between the treatment options. Again, not something we're planning on, but if things go our way, it is a possibility.
This is fantastic, Wally. Any final thoughts before we conclude?
Just that this is one more giant step toward making the phase 3 success of Annamycin a reality. We could not be more excited about now being this close to definitive phase 3 data that we believe will drive us closer to the kind of market valuation our shareholders deserve. If you look at this final slide, the story is simple and compelling, and it's only gotten better over time. And what I mean by that is that delivering a complete remission rate of 50% in second-line AML patients is by itself very impressive. But now we're seeing that these CRs are more durable than most would have expected. We're at 8 months and climbing. And from an overall survival perspective, we're now looking at around 11 months and climbing. That's more than 4 times better than we would expect from this class of patients. Now, we'll put these numbers up against anything out there. And now that we're in phase 3, we're about to show the world what Annamycin can do. We can't wait for the updates that are about to come. So thanks for this time, Janine.
So with that, this concludes our What This Means segment with Moleculin Biotech, and I would like to extend a huge thank you to Wally Klemp for joining us today, and I'd also like to thank our audience for your time and attention. As a reminder, Moleculin trades on NASDAQ under the ticker MBRX, and if you like what you saw today, I encourage you to visit moleculin.com for more information on the company and to sign up to follow the company to receive their alerts, as well as follow their social channels to stay current on the latest information. And you can also visit virtualinvestorco.com for a replay of today's event, as well as our latest segments and event calendar. I'd like to thank everyone and wish you a great rest of your day.